Saturday night Conference USA basketball on tap from Diddle Arena in Bowling Green, Kentucky. The Charlotte 49ers, losers of 2 in a row, make the trip to take on the homestanding Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. With that, we say hello courtside. He is Jay Walton. I'm Nate Gatter. The big news today, not a good one for Hilltoppers fans. This headline, Jamarion Sharp will not start. He is expected to be very limited, if not out completely, by a hip injury. Obviously, that is a 7-foot 5-inch hole in Western Kentucky's lineup.
Huge gap in the middle of this Western Kentucky defense. The rest of this team, they're going to have to be very, very solid defensively because he is not there to erase mistakes with his shot clock rim protection ability.
Now let's get a look at a couple of the key players we're watching out for in this evening's action. First, I know you've had your eye on him, Jay, Aly Khalifa, and what the 6'11 Egyptian brings to the 49ers.
Well, Khalifa, one of the best passing big men in Conference USA, if not all of college basketball, to call him point center, if you will. A lot of their Charlotte's offense will run through him, a great facilitator, and he will catch you sleeping. If you turn your head, he's a great passer. So West Kentucky has to be very, very solid defensively.
Speaking of the offense running through him, how about Davion McKnight?
Well, does it on both ends for West Kentucky, and just his leadership ability, what he does on both ends of the floor. He's got his backcourt mate, Emmanuel Acott, back in the lineup today, had missed some action recently due to an injury, so he didn't have to quite shoulder quite the load that he normally would, but certainly a key on both ends for the Hilltoppers.
A little bit more pressure, you would think, on those two.
Absolutely.
Both coming off of a 2.
Western Kentucky in the home whites, Charlotte in the green on the road, getting ready to jump it up. Of course, no Jamarion Sharp to do those duties for the Hilltoppers this evening. So instead, it'll be Falou Jeune who makes the start in his place, 6'11", redshirt sophomore from Dakar, Senegal. He will jump against the Croatian Igor Milicic Jr., 24 in green for Charlotte. Our officials tonight are James Hicks, Chris Merlot, and Kevin Mathis, the latter of whom will toss it up to get us started tonight. No other changes to the starting five for Western Kentucky. McKnight, Acott, Frampton, and Hamilton join Jeune. Charlotte wins the opening tip. The 49ers have Montre Gibson, Jackson Threadgill, Lakai Patterson, and Aly Khalifa alongside the aforementioned Milicic. Good cut. Milicic finds Khalifa for the bucket.
Set up by great, what we call a UCLA screen. Pass to the wing, elbow screen, no help. Khalifa freed up for the layup.
Western Kentucky going to that weave right away. You wonder if something like that is a little bit more available to the Hilltoppers with the additional space on the interior that otherwise might be occupied by Jamarion Sharp. A little more emphasis on the dribble drive. Hamilton triggers the three. Been waiting for a big game from Jarius Hamilton. Maybe tonight's the night.
Great start for him, catching in rhythm and able to knock down the long-range jump shot. He can do a little bit of everything offensively. Like to see him in the mid-post as well.
Gibson finds Milicic. Patterson to Milicic. This time he'll try it, and Acott the rebound. Rather fluid group, as you can see, with Acott going up for the rebound and then pushing the pace. A little more positionless for the Hilltoppers without Sharp on the floor. And everybody can shoot it, because Jeune is more than willing to try him from the outside as well. Acott, back-to-back threes for the Tops.
I think with Sharp out, you know, with Jeune in his place in the starting lineup, gives you a little bit more offensive punch, a little bit more flow to your half-court possessions.
And Western Kentucky does have good size around the perimeter. Khalifa splashes the three. He has all 5 for Charlotte so far.
He's seen his inside and outside game already on display so far. A cutting layup, then a step-out three. Also, as mentioned, a really, really good passer. Likes to catch it off the block in the mid-post area and find cutters. Charlotte, a very, very deliberate offensive team. One of the most deliberate teams in the country.
Uh-oh, Luke Frampton just went down holding his knee. Charlotte the other way with Frampton down. A layup for Milicic, and Frampton still has not gotten off the deck. He's rolling back and forth, holding that right knee.
Not a good sign. Let's hope he just banged knees and
Yeah, he had that happen last weekend when he was limping around really badly and he waved the trainers off. This time he's allowed them to come out. Let's see what happened here. Ooh, that's not a good sign. It looked like that sneaker just stuck on the floor a little bit awkwardly. You hope that he's all right. Would be, of course, a very big blow for Western Kentucky, especially without Sharp as it stands. You see Jamarian Sharp there to the right of your picture. He is in uniform, and we were told it could be possible he would play tonight, but very specific situations where he might be used, and it sounded more likely he wouldn't play at all. Luke Frampton, meanwhile, has not gotten up. Interim Western Kentucky coach Phil Cunningham out there along with the medical staff to look at him. And he's going to need help from Jean and Hamilton to get off the floor, putting very little weight on that right foot. And now no weight at all. I don't want to speculate, but it looks like, at least at this point, there's a real chance that Western Kentucky will now have to play the remainder of this game, which is almost the entirety of this game, without its most important interior defensive player or its best outside shooter on the offensive end.
Yeah, not a great start to the afternoon for the Hilltoppers. We'll keep an eye on that, and not only just for this afternoon, but moving forward for Western Kentucky. Huge blow on either end of the floor. I mean, I think Frampton started every game since he's been here. Obviously their best long-distance shooter and just a calming force offensively as far as his knowledge of how to play. And so big adjustments to make for Western Kentucky early on this afternoon.
Dante Allen in there for the Hilltoppers in Frampton's place. McKnight misses his first shot of the evening. Charlotte has also gone to the bench, didn't take long. Milicic makes way not even 2.5 minutes in for Bryce Williams, the leading scorer for the 49ers, but he comes off the bench. 11.5 a game for Williams this year, and he has been scoring more and more in league play. Had 31 points in back-to-back games not long ago after that offensive rebound, but it's ripped away by Jarius Hamilton. Jean on Khalifa, shuffled his feet, and a turnover. (7-6) lead for Charlotte, just over 3 minutes in. Get another look at the travel here by Jean.
Yeah, just trying to do a little bit too much too soon in that offensive possession.
Khalifa against Jean. Khalifa has 5 already. Reigning Conference USA Freshman of the Year. Has his pass batted in the air by Acott. It was nicely done.
Yeah, rare turnover for Khalifa and for Charlotte, really. They just don't turn the ball over very much as a team. Really get quality shots most possessions.
Jean left it way short. Not a good looking first shot from him tonight, but he is a 42% three-point shooter on the year. And he is going to check out, so Western Kentucky's going to go really small here. Not even 4 minutes into the game. Jordan Rawls, who is 6'2", in for the 6'11" Jean. That puts Jarius Hamilton giving up 4 inches on Khalifa on the interior.
Yeah, we'll see how they elect to guard Khalifa in the post with Hamilton. If he gets double help, it's kind of dangerous for Western Kentucky because he is such a good passer. You got to respect that from him.
And Charlotte right away able to take advantage. As you said, deliberate, but it seems like the Niners, as compared to a lot of other teams, able to pinpoint that mismatch and take advantage.
Well, they get the shot that they want, whether it takes 10 seconds, 12 seconds. You could guard 26 seconds very well and give up a layup at the end of the shot clock. You just have to be so disciplined against this team because they're so skilled and very patient.
Credit to Hamilton, though. He goes right inside and gets Khalifa back. That's 5 for Hamilton. Khalifa has 7 to lead all scorers. Williams on Acott, who has the size advantage, whistles it out to Khalifa. Couple of extra passes. Patterson and Allen the rebound, but that was great ball movement by Charlotte.
Didn't get the shots go down to the corner, but very good possession. Very unselfish team.
I don't know anybody in the country shoots that shot as well as McKnight. With all that momentum going downhill, just to stop and go straight up.
You're right. He is one of the best mid-range shooters, and that is his spot. He is very good stopping on a dime, raising straight up on balance, making those mid-range shots.
Khalifa is hot to start tonight. That's 10 points for him on only 4 shots from the field. He hasn't missed. Just a 30% three-point shooter this year. Not bad for a 6'11" big man, but Western Kentucky going to have to really respect him. McKnight short on that one, rebounded by Threadgill. There's Williams, lost it, off himself, and out of bounds to Western Kentucky on the other side of the timeout. High-scoring start, 5.5 minutes in. Western Kentucky without Jamarian Sharp, we expect tonight, and perhaps without Luke Frampton as well for the rest of the way after he went down with an apparent knee injury in the early minutes. But the shots going down for both teams. Ali Khalifa averages just about 10.5 points a game. He has 10 already. Charlotte has a 12-10 lead, nearly 5.5 minutes in. And we are going to go to the sideline and check in with Lexi Schweinert.
Hey guys, yes, I wanted to give you an update on head coach Rick Stansbury. He is out again tonight. He's been out 8 consecutive games, all conference play. His first absence was December 29th against Rice. His status is day-to-day. Associate head coach Phil Cunningham is filling in the interim. He also did so in 2021 and racked up 2 wins against MTSU. Rick Stansbury has missed 14 games so far in 7 seasons. We don't know exactly what is wrong, but we're hoping he's okay. Again, his status is day-to-day. I'll send it back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Lexi. Certainly everybody hoping for the best for Rick Stansbury, who has missed the entirety of conference play. Western Kentucky got off to a rocky start, then righted things with 3 straight wins, but back-to-back losses for the Hilltoppers, as well as the 49ers coming into this matchup. So a couple of teams feeling the push and the pressure of trying to keep themselves from falling down to 3 and 6, which would make that Conference USA standings not look quite as appealing.
A lot of jockeying for position in the middle of the pack here in Conference USA. Still a lot of ball to be played, but certainly a big game today with these 2 teams on a little bit of a skid, both starving for a win.
Pretty deep bench lineups out there at the moment. Charlotte has 2 starters on the floor in Threadgill and Patterson. Williams gets the touch inside on Marshall, and his first shot goes down to make it a 4-point lead. But that's 2 more starters than Western Kentucky has on the floor. It's Rawls, Marshall, Lander, Allen, and Miles, the last of whom does not get very many minutes at all. Didn't play a single minute against Louisiana Tech on Thursday. Jordan Rawls, tough shot, and he hits it.
Yeah, I would expect Jordan Rawls to be a little bit more offensive-minded with a couple of guys out here for West Kentucky. Nice job on the pull-up jumper there.
Josh Aldrich, his first shot off the bench, knocked out of bounds, last touch by Williams, and the Hilltoppers will get it back with a chance to tie or take the lead. To your point on Rawls, it does seem like his offensive game is starting to get in a better and better rhythm the last few weeks. Still hasn't been terribly efficient, but part of that is because of how many tough shots he's asked to take, particularly at the end of the shot clock. Tyrone Marshall Jr. has been a bit of a revelation as well as the season has gone on for the Hilltoppers. Allen hit a 3 earlier, too strong. Aldrich wants it again. This time it goes down for him. A 5-point lead for Charlotte, largest of the evening thus far.
Both teams feeling pretty good rhythm offensively here, early going.
Yeah, combined 5 made threes between the 2 teams on 11 tries thus far. Miles thought about one. Only attempted 2 3-pointers so far this year. Lander off the mark. Marshall pursues it on the weak side. Fresh 20 for the Tops. Allen, Charlotte bench wanted to carry. Allen lost it for a moment, goes backdoor for Marshall, who's fouled by Patterson. That is the first foul called against either team nearly 8 minutes in. And Western Kentucky goes to the free throw line with Marshall, who was down to his last 2 in the shot clock.
Pretty good defense there by Charlotte till right at the very end. Lost sight of Marshall cutting baseline, and Allen able to find him with a nice bounce pass. I really like this young man, Marshall. He just brings such great energy as a defender, rebounder. makes hustle plays, gets offensive rebounds, and becoming more and more comfortable with his role offensively, but certainly brings a lot of high energy plays to this West Kentucky lineup.
Marshall has made 6 out of 10 free throws this year. Nashville native in his first season out of Colby Community College. And he splits the pair. We thought, Jay, this was going to be a bigger challenge for the Tops, particularly with not having Jamarian Sharp. You would assume that WKU had substantially more warning than we did in the practices leading up. Of course, this is the end of a 4-game and 7-day stretch that perhaps they would be without Sharp services or he would be limited, but it's hard to overstate the impact that it makes, especially on the defensive end of the floor.
You know, in the middle of January in conference play, and nobody's really 100% anymore, and you just, that could be a huge difference in a conference race, is what teams can stay healthy. And with Sharp out, huge gap, and certainly they will miss him. And obviously Luke Frampton going down early in this game. We'll see if he's able to make his way back as the game progresses.
Great defense by Allen, forcing the ball out of bounds. Charlotte will keep it when we get back with a 4-point lead in Bowling Green. She's going to just take it.
Welcome back into Diddle Arena. The 49ers are leading 17-13. Now I want to bring you guys into the scene here in Diddle. Tonight was the launch of the 1906 Lager, WKU's first university beer. They partnered up with West 6 Brewing. I talked about this last Saturday, but tonight is the first night that you can actually find this beer in the concession stands. I was talking to Davion McKnight's mom before the game, and she was sipping on one. She said she liked it, and she loved how the university has this beer. It is so cool to see all the fans in the stands drinking the exact same thing. That just showcases the Hilltopper spirit. I'll send it back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Lexi. 5 on the shot clock for Charlotte out of the timeout with a 17-13 lead. This will be interesting as well. It seems like it'd be a strong suit for the 49ers with how precise they are at the offensive end, running a set on the baseline with just 5 seconds to get something off. Into Khalifa. Williams, not a bad look, and he hits it. A little too easy from Western Kentucky's standpoint.
Pretty good execution. You always have to keep an eye on the inbounder. A lot of times the play call will be to get him the ball off a screen, and that time Khalifa, the big wide body pick there on the dribble handoff. Bryce Williams with a shot in the corner.
It's a tricky time of the game for Western Kentucky. The Hilltoppers have to try to stay connected. Marshall couldn't get it. Still a deep bench lineup out there for the Tops. Jarius Hamilton, the only starter on the floor. Gibson almost had his first bucket. Instead, Marshall ends up with a rebound. That thing was halfway down.
Well, didn't get the shot to go down, but you can tell, you can see Charlotte has no fear attacking inside without Sharp. They got no problem going in the paint and being very aggressive.
To your point, that was just the second bucket in the paint for Western Kentucky so far tonight. Charlotte has outscored the Hilltoppers 8-4 in the paint more than 9 minutes in. Tough to imagine many teams doubling up Western Kentucky in the paint with Sharp out there. Gibson finds Khalifa, has 10 already. Make it 12, past his season average, and we're not even a quarter of the way through the game.
Khalifa does not beat you with his athleticism. He goes around you instead of going over you. You can see right there, great footwork. Nice little patience on the shot fake and a reverse finish.
Rawls, always willing to step up at this end, and he has 7 already.
Tough shot right there. Not exactly what you would draw up, but very, very good shot by Rawls. And like I said, he's got to shoulder more load offensively here off the bench.
Tough to believe Jordan Rawls missed his first 14 three-pointers of the season, but he has really turned that around in the last week.
Here's where Khalifa's really, really good. Watch a cutter. Don't turn your head if you're West Kentucky.
Allen did well to get a deflection there, and Charlotte will have 7 to shoot. I'm not drawing this comparison in any kind of broad scope way, but just watching him play, especially those post moves, how deliberate he is, the ball fakes, the way they like to use him to facilitate in the post. I feel like he's the Conference USA Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, certainly. I was watching them, leading up to this game, watching a few games on film. I'm reminded of Vlade Divac, great Laker and Sacramento King from back in the day. He's kind of a Euro-type player, facilitator at the post position.
Really good look for Hamilton in transition, but couldn't hit it. Charlotte fortunate to still have a 2-possession lead. Good ball movement, sets up a look for Nick Graves, and Lander the rebound. Graves has not had a lot of minutes this year. Both teams having to go deeper into their bench with such a taxing week of 4 games in 7 days. Rawls, though, looks like he has plenty of energy. Hamilton on Khalifa, gets a foul, and he'll go to the free throw line. You watch Jarius Hamilton, and he seems like he has more bounce in his step than he did last year when that back injury really bothered him for substantial stretches of the year. Physically, he's just a man among boys in terms of the silhouette that he cuts out on the court. I'm a little bit surprised, to be honest, that we haven't seen him take over more games this year.
I think the same thing. He's had his moments, but a little bit up and down, and just like you just mentioned, you like to see him just go take over. Even if he forces the issue a little bit once or twice, I think he's a guy, he can cause some problems with his size against a smaller guy. And as you saw right there, takes the bigger Khalifa off the dribble. That's a tough match for Khalifa outside trying to guard Hamilton. And, as you probably can get used to the rest of this afternoon, West Kentucky going to be very, very small. He's going to have a bigger guy on him. Offensively, looking for him to play more off the dribble as he just did.
And he shot the ball really well this year, 50% from the field, 39 from deep.
Yeah, you just don't want to see him settle for jump shots when he can be so effective in that post-up game.
Aldridge works on Hamilton. Niners have to get it up. Milicic step back. Off the heel, rebounded by Hamilton. And Western Kentucky on the run. Rawls on Threadgill. Davion McKnight back on the floor. 3 starters for the Tops plus Rawls and Lander. A very small lineup. Rawls again. 9 points for Rawls. He hasn't missed, and I think every shot's been off the dribble.
Yeah, I think you're right. He's showing that mid-range game.
There's not a lot of guys in the college game who can shoot efficiently off that kind of dribbling action. Milicic on Akat. Draws a double. Charlotte, though, has swung the ball really nicely. Threadgill goes by him. Hamilton straight up and down, but the extra pass to Milicic for the bucket.
That time they got the Hilltoppers in a rotation situation. Just again, very, very patient. There was a couple of those shots would have been decent shots had they pulled the trigger right there, but instead they worked it until they got the great shot at the very end.
McKnight crosses over. Rawls draws 2, and he's fouled. So Jordan Rawls has been the man for Western Kentucky in this first half. Off the bench, he scored 9 points, hasn't missed from the field. Pulled the Tops back even a moment ago. They still trail by only 2 with 7:03 to go until the half. Back in a moment to Diddle Arena. Charlotte on top by 2 under 50-year head coach Ron Sanchez. And Jay, we've been talking about this deliberate offense and what it does. Maybe the toughest team in the league for Western Kentucky to play. Down at this point a couple of starters and playing their 4th game in 7 days, just making your legs tired out defending for 30 seconds every trip.
Well, just watch the rotations here. The ball started in the mid-post with Milicic, kicks it out against a double team, 3 or 4 passes, a baseline drive, and that's just hard to cover defensively. You got to really be locked in. And normally, West Kentucky's got a 7'5" center down there that could erase all those mistakes and then take away a shot at the end of the clock. Sharp not here today, ends up in a Charlotte layup.
Charlotte has outscored Western Kentucky 12-4 in the paint so far. Coaches have to love those highlights too, where the ball starts with one guy, everybody else touches it, and it ends up back to the original guy for the bucket. Akat has to hurry.
That's when you'll show your team the next day in film session. As guys, if we're going to play this unselfishly, move the ball around like that, we're very, very hard to guard.
I imagine too, when there's that culture of ball movement on a team, everybody's more likely to make that first pass because the ball still might make its way back to you. You're not playing so much thinking, I got to hold on to the ball and get my shot here. Rawls has hit everything so far. There's his first miss. Allen bumped by a couple of guys going after the rebound. It ends up with Patterson. Both teams have shot the ball well. But Charlotte has been more efficient, particularly inside. Better than 50% from the field, in large part because half their points have been in the paint. Aldrich hit a three earlier, and he's fouled by Jean. Just going to say, Western Kentucky had not been called for a single foul. That's the first foul against the Tops, almost 14 minutes into the game, and it will put Charlotte on the free throw line for three.
Yeah, and that's a bad one too, right there. I don't know how many seconds were on the shot clock when he made that foul, but the last thing you want to do is bail out a three-point shooter. Just contest, get ready to rebound. Now Aldrich at the line for three.
First one goes down for the grad transfer, who started 49 games over the course of his career at USC Upstate, now in his first year with the Niners. Now 8 of 10 at the free throw line this year, and he has one more coming. Charlotte is led by as many as 7. That was 22-15. Hilltoppers rattled off 7 in a row to tie it. And now it's a 5-0 spurt for the 49ers since that point to stretch the lead back out. Aldrich sits down along with Milicic, Khalifa, and Williams back on for the Niners. WKU has McKnight, Rawls, Allen in the backcourt with Jean and Acott the front court. Skip pass, Rawls. Allen off the dribble, another tough mid-range shot. Hilltoppers can be thankful those are going down tonight.
A lot of mid-range action tonight off the dribble for West Kentucky. You know, as we approaching the end of this first half, pretty even offensively, both teams shooting it well. It just seems to me like Charlotte right now is getting a better quality shots. And West Kentucky's hit some very tough ones, but I think the way tempo's going right now favors Charlotte based on the quality of looks they're getting in the half-court offense.
Good backdoor cut by Jean, couldn't get it. Allen is fouled. To your point on the ball movement, Jay, Western Kentucky has made 9 shots from the field, just 1 assist. Charlotte has assists on 9 out of 10 made field goals.
Right, it's like a little bit of, you know, for West Kentucky, everybody trying to do it on their own, off the dribble, and so far it's been effective. They're right there where they want to be, but you know, Charlotte definitely making them work harder on the defensive end than they are making the Niners work.
Allen off the mark pretty badly on the first free throw. 77% shooter at the stripe this year. Gonna need to put a little more leg into the second one. Splits the pair. Hamilton back on for the Tops. Rawls sits down. Khalifa, good slip to the rim. Another bucket for Ali Khalifa, who still has not missed from this field. He's 6 of 6 for 14 points.
Well, that's the second time they run that exact same play and got the layup off the elbow screen. If you're guarding that screener, you've got to, number one, communicate, let your partner know that that screen's coming, and you got to cover that up.
Acott for 3. Rebounded by Gibson. Chance for Charlotte to stretch this out a little bit again. Khalifa wants it. Hamilton knocked him off the block. It's Lakai Patterson on Lander. A lot of jostling. A second pivot off the mark. Hamilton, a tough rebound, and he got rid of it to Lander as he was going to the floor. Lander out for Acott. Goes inside and scores.
Love that possession for West Kentucky. Offense off their defense. Get out in transition, force tempo a little bit. Not so much of a grind in the half court.
Williams dumps it down to Patterson. Tough backdoor feed for Threadgill, and a foul away from the basketball. A Hilltopper had a hold of Threadgill, and that is going to go against Dante Allen. Timeout on the floor. Western Kentucky has closed it back down within 2, but it's still Charlotte on top on the road. Charlotte leads by 2 on the road at Diddle Arena in Bowling Green. Nate Ganner, Jay Walton back with you, and time now to check in again with a third member of our broadcast team, Lexi Schweiner.
Hey guys, yes, I wanted to fill you in on a connection between WKU and Charlotte. The 6'8", 230-pound forward, Jarius Hamilton, who's having a great game so far tonight, was actually born in Charlotte, North Carolina. Like I said, he's had a great game. He's had 7 points so far and 3 rebounds, so maybe he wants to show off a little bit to his former hometown.
Sure, they get a chance to play against the hometown school. Of course, Hamilton started at Boston College for his first 2 years, then spent a third season at Maryland before making his way to Bowling Green, where he's now in his second season with the Tops, averaging right around 10.6 boards a game. Has 7 on the board already tonight. And a foul called, is that Allen again? So Dante Allen was called for the foul, holding Threadgill on a back cut to send us into the timeout. And he picks up another foul just on the out of bounds play before the ball could even be triggered in. So 2 fouls for Allen without any time coming off the clock. Here's Bryce Williams. Khalifa, there's his first miss. Still been a phenomenal first half from the reigning league player, freshman of the year, I should say. Chance for Western Kentucky to tie or take the lead. McKnight works inside, couldn't get it. Williams the rebound.
We've seen Western Kentucky run their offense through McKnight as kind of an ISO. He'll back down to the mid post and clear out a side. That time right there, what he liked to do is create a double team so he can distribute. But that time, just great individual defense by Charlotte, closing off that angle for McKnight.
Williams and Khalifa. It's Williams on the pull-up, and he has 7.
Got to be 6th man of the year, right? In Conference USA, leading scorer for Charlotte coming off the bench. He does it at all 3 levels. He stretch you with a 3-point shot, can be very aggressive getting to the basket, and shows the mid-range jumper on that possession.
Doesn't play a ton of minutes. Only about 22 minutes a game. Still 11.5 points a night. Lander, tough step back move. That almost looked like that NBA step back where you get the little extra step to really create the space on Khalifa.
Yeah, he had the mismatch on Khalifa out on the perimeter. What I like to see is to take a bigger guy like that off the dribble instead of settling for the step back jump shot. Again, you see Charlotte getting better quality looks than the Hilltoppers so far in the half court.
Allen got a hand on the pass. What an extra feed by Khalifa. Not many guys 6'11" making that pass. He gets it back wide open underneath. And Emmanuel Aycock can only put his hands on his head. Phil Cunningham says timeout, and he is fired up. Western Kentucky has gone back down by 6. Khalifa has 16 points, and that ball again just whistling around, Jay.
Well, that possession right there, you have a Western Kentucky defender lunge for the ball and miss it. So now you're playing 5-on-4. You really just, you really, if you go for that steal, you got to get it. And instead of getting an easy bucket on the other end, Khalifa with a phenomenal cross-court pass ends up with a layup on his possession.
So Charlotte leads at 33-27 over Western Kentucky, and Phil Cunningham uses his use it or lose it timeout of the first half. Here's that possession again, Jay.
Yeah, you see Allen missed the steal. Nobody covers basket. Khalifa right there, heads up pass.
You think even if Western Kentucky had a day or two knowing this was possible, do you think it's a tough mental adjustment defensively for the Hilltoppers, who are so used to having Jamarian Sharp patrolling that restricted area?
It's just different. It's not like you're just down a star. You know, I mean, you are down a 7'5" guy who leads the nation in blocks. So you're used to playing a certain way defensively, knowing that I can gamble a little bit. Like on that last possession, you know, Dante Allen misses that steal. Normally, Jamarian Sharp is there to kind of cover up and protect that. Well, now there's not anybody there to protect the rim, and so it's just a totally different defensive game plan that Western Kentucky's having to adjust to.
Threadgill off the extra pass. A second assist for Khalifa, and it's a 9-point lead for the Niners, their largest of the night.
Again, the ball movement, just very, very difficult to guard because they're so unselfish. They pass up good shots for great shots time and time again in the half-court possessions.
McKnight attacks, can't get it. And the ball comes free to Gibson. Another quiet first half for Davion McKnight. Has just 2 points on 1 of 5 shooting. Charlotte scored 7 straight. Gibson hesitates, got rolls in the air, didn't get the call. Rebound Khalifa, goes back up and scores. 18 for Khalifa and a double-digit lead for the visitors.
Yeah, just a missed box out right there by Jarius Hamilton. Khalifa with the garbage.
Hamilton straight on 3. That's exactly what Western Kentucky needs. Hamilton, the Charlotte native, as Lexi told you, now into double figures to lead the Tops.
And if I'm Charlotte right now, I'm being very, very deliberate on this last possession. They can hold for the final shot. I do not want Western Kentucky to be able to have another shot attempt this half.
Patterson with 5 on the pull-up, rattles out, ball loose. McKnight had it stripped, and there's no time for another shot. So Western Kentucky had battled back to tie it, even playing without Jamarian Sharp, and for the vast majority of the first half without Luke Frampton. But Charlotte, with some hot shooting and excellent ball movement, stretched the lead out to as many as 11 and takes an 8-point advantage into the break. Reigning freshman of the year in Conference USA, Ali Khalifa with 18 points, 1 off his season high, 2 off his career high in the first half alone, and his Niners up 38-30 at the half. 49ers lead at 38-30 at the half. They were up by as many as 11 in the first half and have a commanding advantage at the break. Nate Gatter, Jay Walton back with you, and let's check in once again with the third member of our broadcast team, Lexi Schweiner.
Hey guys, something I'm really intrigued to see is how WKU plays in this second half. Typically, WKU outscores their opponent in the first half, and then they're outscored by their opponent in the second half. We saw this in their last game against Louisiana Tech. They went into the half up by 2, 37-35. Second half, they ended the game tied, but they were up by as much as 12 in that second half. In overtime, WKU didn't score a single point. Now in this game, Charlotte is up by 8 at the half. They've had a lead as large as 11. So I want to see if WKU can come back from this and break that stigma of usually trailing in the second half. I'll send it back to you guys.
It's a good point, Lexi. Particularly this week, I think that was exposed, Jay, in that Western played well enough, even in the first half of that game at home on Tuesday night, or on Monday night, I should say, against FAU. Maybe the class of the league this year, a ranked opponent coming into Diddle, the first one to come to Bowling Green for quite a few years. It looked like maybe the Tops would be good enough to give them a real run, but they tailed off in the second half. Same story really in Ruston, although they didn't tail off badly Thursday night until overtime when they didn't score for the entire 5-minute extra period, and in the end lost by double digits in a game that certainly was winnable. The pressure now is on them, because if they roll over in the second half the way they have the last couple of games, this is going to get ugly. Well,
throughout the years, Western Kentucky's been able to close games here at Diddle Arena. It's a huge home court advantage. You can look at the numbers and see, how much of an advantage it has been. So, and you got Charlotte, on the other hand, who's searching for their first win on the road in conference play and has had trouble closing out games. So they can keep this thing close. The pressure flips to Charlotte, because they're the ones that have not been able to finish these close games in conference play. But to do that, they've got to do a better job, I think, to force tempo, get out on the open floor, and create some easier buckets in transition. It has been a grind for Western Kentucky in the half court offensively in the first half.
That's a good point. Charlotte is 8-1 at home, but the 49ers just 2-5 on the road, and they've yet to win, as you said, Jay, a Conference USA game away from the friendly confines. What we did expect is a couple of teams that shoot the three-pointer well and shoot it pretty often. Western Kentucky shoots almost 39% from deep as a team this year. Now, a big part of that is Luke Frampton, who is not going to return with a knee injury suffered in the early minutes tonight. But almost 39% is an excellent number, best in the league, 16th in Division I. Charlotte, though, shoots it at 38%, second best in the league and 29th in the country. So no slouch themselves, and the Niners shot slightly better from the three-point arc in the first half. Both teams attempted 12. Charlotte made 5 to Western Kentucky's 4. Tops have it to start the second half. Acott works inside. Tough ball away, and he got it. That's 5 straight points for the Tops on either side of halftime, and they've cut it down to 6.
That's a good possession. Came out of the half with a set play. Charlotte did a nice job of guarding their initial action, but they didn't force. They were patient enough to get Acott in his spot right there to mid-range. Very nice touch on the turnaround jump shot.
Also, not many fouls called in the first half, only 8 combined between the two teams. Neither side got into the bonus. Khalifa spins at the rim, and he has 20 points, a new season high, and that matches his career high set 2 years ago against Marshall. Or last season against Marshall, I should say. And he did it in just 21 minutes so far tonight of game time. He's only been on the floor for 16. There's a foul on the Tops, a moving screen called against Jarius Hamilton. So a quick Western Kentucky turnover, just the 3rd of the night for the Tops.
You can tell Hamilton's frustrated right there with that call. And, you know, the previous possession, he's going to have trouble guarding Khalifa one-on-one. If he's going to get some help, he either's got to get help on the double team or he's got to get around and try to front. And the Hilltoppers got to get some backside help.
Both teams had only 2 turnovers apiece in the first half, but they just turned it over on back-to-back possessions early in the second. Marshall a little bit out of control, but regains his balance, gets his own miss. Akot off the extra pass. Another offensive rebound. The Tops get a 3rd chance, rolls off the mark. Make it a 4th chance for Western Kentucky on this possession.
This crowd get into it a little bit. They appreciate the hustle by Western Kentucky right there. Give them something to cheer about. Great effort on the glass.
It's not a bad crowd tonight at Diddle Arena, but it's been a quiet one. Not a lot to cheer about in that first half, particularly down the stretch. It was all Charlotte. And there hasn't been a lot to cheer about for the Tops since last weekend. Back-to-back losses after the 3-game winning streak. Here's Hamilton. Led the Tops with 10 in the first half, and he is fouled by Williams. Kevin Mathis, the official on the baseline, just raised that knee up to say Williams was getting into him a little bit with that left knee from behind.
Yeah, that's Hamilton's spot right there. Drive downhill to his left, get his man on his hip, and back down. Mid-range game in the post, pretty good for him.
Western Kentucky's had the ball for well over 60 seconds at this point. McKnight, that might have been the toughest shot of the 4, and it goes down.
Not able to get to the basket, but again, we talked about this in the first half, his ability to stop and pop among the best in college basketball.
Had only 2 points in the first half. Hilltoppers will need a lot more from him in the second. Charlotte back into this deliberate offense. No Khalifa on the floor, substituted pretty early in the second half by Ron Sanchez. Aldridge, Williams for 3. Left it short, and Marshall the rebound. Hamilton, touch pass, Akot. McKnight, too strong, off the rim a second time. Hamilton might have been there if it hadn't taken a second touch from the iron. Niners in no hurry at this end of the floor. Patterson thought about the deep 2, goes underneath for a cutting Williams for the jam.
Great vision by Patterson. Baseline drive, defenders all turn their attention to the ball. Bryce Williams, a great cut too, with a nice finish.
An efficient 9 points for Bryce Williams, 4 of 6 from the field for Charlotte's leading scorer on the season. Rawls is just all shake and bake. He gets it, plus the foul. He's got to be annoying to guard. He just won't stand still.
It's a lot of stop and go, a little bit of wiggle to his game. That time right there, very, very good job going with the kiss off the glass.
He's like a cartoon when the kid eats too much sugar and everything starts to vibrate. That's Jordan Rawls with the basketball.
Hey, get him some soda, get him whatever it takes to finish this game.
12 for Rawls. He leads Western Kentucky in scoring tonight. He and Hamilton both in double figures. Gibson in a bad spot right off the inbound. Dribbles out of it. Loses the ball. Still loose. Gibson spins away. Charlotte gets over the timeline. Bounce pass to Aldridge is tipped out of bounds. Was it? Kickball on Western Kentucky, so Charlotte will keep it. Western Kentucky had 3 or 4 steal chances here, but couldn't get it.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen the full court defense from the Hilltoppers right there. Charlotte not really expecting it and almost came up with a big turnover. Good hustle back to get the deflection. Got to do a better job if you're West Kentucky guarding these out-of-bounds plays. Charlotte has been very effective on these set possessions, throughout the first half. Had to fight through screens.
Khalifa back in there. Hamilton trying to guard him on the block. Gibson steps in, and Marshall goes way up for the rebound.
Well, that time Hamilton does front Khalifa. Charlotte unable to get the ball inside to run their offense through the big guy.
Rawls couldn't get it. Charlotte with the basketball, still up by 5, but that lead was as many as 11 not long ago inside the final minute of the first half. Threadgill drives baseline, beat Marshall to the cup.
Quick first step, no baseline rotation there for Western Kentucky. Somebody's got to slide over, stop that ball, rotate, help one another defensively.
Western Kentucky off to the more energetic start to the second half, certainly. But the Hilltoppers haven't been able to really close the gap. McKnight didn't get any iron. Khalifa sitting on 20 already. He wants another 3. Way off. McKnight had it go off his foot and out of bounds. So Charlotte will get a second chance with 15 still on the shot clock on the other side of the timeout. 5 minutes gone by in the second half. Western Kentucky cut it down to as small a deficit as 3, but it's back out to 7 for the Niners.
Scottsdale Dollar General Distribution Center, Thomas Ford Junior and WKU. Start your career USA by texting DG Warehouse to 25300.
Oh, welcome back to Diddle Arena. I want to tell you guys a story back in 1987. WKU was hosting the Sun Belt Tournament here, and it was a crazy game. Charlotte-WKU matchup went into double overtime. The Tops ended up winning 99-95, but something even crazier. Back then, Wood Seelig was working in ticketing for Charlotte. He then became the athletic director for WKU and was here for decades. And the color commentator for Charlotte was someone named Randy Lee, who you might know now. He's the voice of the Hilltoppers. How funny the connections between the two schools. I'll send it back to you guys.
Thank you, Lexi. Yeah, Randy Lee now a decade and a half as the radio voice of the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. He brought good luck when he came to Bowling Green. His first season calling Tops men's basketball was the run to the Sweet 16 with that famous win over Drake back in the 2008 NCAA tournament. Went on to beat San Diego before falling to UCLA the second weekend. Charlotte on top by 7 tonight. Khalifa finds a cutting Milicic, who's fouled by McKnight with 4 on the timer. How many good looks or fouls has Charlotte gotten inside the last 5 seconds of the shot clock tonight?
Yeah, we talked about how patient you have to be and disciplined against this Charlotte team, and late in the shot clock is when they do a lot of their damage. Great pass by Khalifa, and Milicic's been pretty quiet tonight. Heads up cut right there for the Virginia transfer.
Seems like, as well, and you could probably speak to this, when you're playing with a big guy like that who can really pass, everybody's cut. Right, you learn pretty quickly in practice. This guy's going to find me if I get open.
Well, he's usually off the block a little bit, not clogging up the lane, so there's plenty of space for guys to make cuts, and if you turn your head as a defender for just a split second, they will make you pay.
McKnight bumped by Patterson, a hand check foul called against the Charlotte point guard. Patterson picks up his second.
Patterson just is such a big physical guy for a point guard. Making life tough right there for Davey McKnight. Would not let him get an angle to get downhill in the paint.
He and Threadgill check out. Gibson back on along with Williams. McKnight turns the corner. Good defense by Milicic, but it doesn't matter.
Oh, what body control there by Davion McKnight. Just able to hang, take the contact, get his right shoulder into the defender and finish with the left off the glass.
Hamilton trying to handle Khalifa. Been able to keep him off the block for the most part in this second half. It's Montre Gibson. Oh, the defense just vacated, and it's a wide open layup for Gibson.
Well, Gibson really hit him hard with the hesitation dribble, very under control. Tough to stay in front of a guy with a change of pace like that.
McKnight on the spin move, pass Gibson, counted plus the foul. 4 quick ones for Davion McKnight, and he'll go to the free throw line.
got 2 possessions in a row with Patterson gone to the bench. His big physical presence defensively, not on the floor, and McKnight is taking it upon himself to get in the paint. 2 really, really good finishes in traffic. Now with a chance for an opportunity for a 3-point play.
And he converts it, 81% free throw shooter this year, the Shelbyville native.
Huge stop for Western right now, going to go to a 2-3 zone.
Yeah, you were wondering if we would see a little bit more of this tonight. I think this is the first time the Tops have used it.
They have, and I'm really surprised that we haven't seen more of it, just with a shot, Sharp not being on the floor, his shot blocking presence, and the fact that Charlotte is so good in their man-to-man offense.
But Williams splashes the 3. Tough to do it against a team that shoots as well as Charlotte does. Bryce Williams in particular, a 44% shooter from deep, and he has a dozen tonight.
That's disheartening as a coach when you try to switch defenses to throw a team off balance. And, you know, you don't really mind them giving up a 24-foot shot, but when they make it, it's like, oh, shoot, should have stuck man.
And that was a pretty deep 3 by Williams. He did not hesitate at all. Allen on the other end might have dribbled his way into a tougher shot than he had on the catch. Khalifa wants it on the block. Acott over to help Hamilton. Dips in, took contact, didn't get the call. Khalifa is fouled. Acott picks up the foul. His first and the third against the Hilltoppers in the second half. Charlotte's been called for 5 already in the second half. Same number 49ers were whistled for in the first half. Should have a lot more free throws in the second stanza than we did before the break. Rawls, did he draw an offensive foul? He did. Isaiah Folks just got his shoulder down a little bit too much, and Rawls sold it, staggering backward for the offensive foul.
I couldn't tell from that angle. If he extended his arm a little bit, then I could see. But other than that, that's a tough call. Just being aggressive going to the basket.
Yeah, you wouldn't call that a violent collision by any stretch. A break for Western Kentucky. Here's Allen, another 3. This one goes down for Dante Allen, his first triple of the night.
He's got range and quick trigger. Hands and feet ready to shoot as he caught the ball in rhythm. It's a good look for him.
Big shot for the Tops, closes it back down to 5 with a dozen to go. Here's Williams. Milicic hoists. Too strong, got glass first. Here comes McKnight. Rawls, bumped by Milicic and a foul. That'll send us into a timeout. 6th team foul against Charlotte. So after neither team got into the bonus in the first half, Western Kentucky will not be shooting on this foul, but the Tops will shoot on every foul for the final 11:48 that goes against Charlotte. I should say they'll be shooting on this one. That's the 7th foul against Charlotte. So free throws when we get back. Charlotte leads by 5 with 11:48 to go in the game at Diddle Arena tonight in Bowling Green. Nate Gatter, Jay Walton back with you. Lexi Schweinert is patrolling the sidelines for us. And Davion McKnight stepping things up a little bit in the second half. Jay, he has 7 of his 9 points since the break.
Well, he's the leader of this team. You know how there he is on the mid-range game, stop and pop straight up. A couple possessions later with Lukai Patterson going to the bench, able to take it right at the teeth of this Charlotte defense, hang in there and finish. And here he goes again, forcing his will with the and one right there. He's going to be the guy down the stretch for West Kentucky to bring this thing home.
The other thing that could be very important for the Hilltoppers is how they shoot at the free throw line. 6 of 8 so far. Rawls has a 1-and-1. And gets the front end to earn a second. He has a team-high 13 points, but Western Kentucky is going to shoot free throws on every Charlotte foul, save for any offensive fouls, over the final 11:48 of the game.
Well, speaking of the free throw line, you know, a staple of this Western Kentucky team over the years under Rick Stansbury is they've been very, very aggressive. Normally they make more free throws than their opponents attempt. Not so much the case these last few games. Today, only 10 attempts so far. Rawls able to connect right here.
There's Aldridge, no Khalifa on the floor for Charlotte. He hasn't done nearly as much damage in the second half. Marshall and Aldrich really jostling in the post. Marshall fortunate not to be called for a foul away from the ball. 3 ball goes down for Threadgill. One big shot late in the clock after another for the Niners tonight.
5 on the clock that time when Threadgill steps up and hits it.
7th three-pointer for Charlotte on 17 attempts. That's 41%.
Just very impressed with this team's patience offensively and their unselfish. They pass up good shots to get great shots.
McKnight couldn't get it. Look at Tyrone Marshall get up for the rebound, but he missed the bunny.
Love his energy. Needs to be able to finish that play around the basket, but boy, does he get off the floor quickly.
Yeah, it's a couple of missed layups for him tonight. Other than that, he brings just phenomenal excitement off the bench. He lost Williams there, though. A couple of mistakes by Marshall, and Bryce Williams has 15 now on 8 shots from the field.
Well, he took advantage of the young fella there. Marshall was trailing off the down screen by 4 or 5 steps, and Bryce Williams didn't need much room to squeeze that off.
Out to a 9-point lead. Hamilton, the big answer, and he's yelling on his way back to the defensive end of the floor, trying to get this crowd going.
He's saying, give me the ball, and I agree. Give him the ball.
13 points for Hamilton on 6 shots. Feels like he's going to need to be in the 20s if Western Kentucky's going to win this game. Williams again. McKnight the other way. Inside 10 minutes. Allen.
Allen trying to get downhill there in transition, just run into a wall, and Gibson, no path to the basket.
See if the Tops can get Hamilton a touch late in the clock. Rawls goes underneath, tries to force one into the middle. McKnight comes out of there, and he is fouled by Patterson, who was on the floor. That's the 3rd personal foul against Patterson. And remember, Western Kentucky is in the bonus, so McKnight, an 81% foul shooter, will have a 1-and-1 here. It's a bit of a bailout for the Hilltoppers with the shot clock down to single digits, and they do not operate nearly as efficiently at the end of the clock as Charlotte does.
Yeah, something to watch. Patterson picks up his 3rd, going to go to the bench for a little bit. The last time he went to the bench, David McKnight, 2 straight possessions, attacked the rim. Let's see if that's something that he's able to do again.
He gets the front end.
Wouldn't be surprised to see a little full court defense again here on this made free throw by Western Kentucky with Patterson on the bench. Nearly a steal the last time they jumped into it. Here it comes.
Diddle Arena crowd getting into it. Threadgill can't break away from Allen. Western Kentucky bench wanted a 5-second call. Charlotte gets it over and can set up. Khalifa's back on the floor in the middle for the Niners. Threadgill, timer to single digits. Inside, Khalifa has a new career high. 22 points to lead all scorers, and he restores the Charlotte advantage to 6.
Good pick and roll action right there. Khalifa with a nice screen, roll to the basket, and Threadgill with a bounce pass in traffic. Catch and finish.
Rawls, pull up, got it. Another tough shot from Jordan Rawls. He has 16 to lead the Hilltoppers. Threadgill bumped by Allen and a foul. That's a 3rd foul on Dante Allen. The 4th against Western Kentucky, so still a little way from the bonus for Charlotte. Tops have only been called for 7 fouls the entire night, 3 of them on Dante Allen. Western Kentucky is trailed by as many as 11. Inside, Khalifa couldn't get it. Williams on the follow. How about that from Bryce Williams?
Well, that basket came from the post up by Khalifa. West Kentucky fronted that time. Hamilton tries to get around, which draws but the backside help had to come over, and when he misses, there's nobody there to box out Bryce Williams on the putback. And so they've played him straight up behind, they've tried fronting, and they've tried double teaming. He can beat you all three ways. So it's just a tough matchup without Jamarian Sharp on the floor and Hamilton having to guard Khalifa in the post. Not something that they probably planned on going into this game.
See, McKnight just bumped in the lower half by Folks. And Davion McKnight has 2 free throws. He's still been hitting there, 81% free throw shooter, and he made all 4 of his free throws Thursday night in 40 minutes against Louisiana Tech. But other than that, just has not shot very well from the field these last couple of games. 4 of 11 tonight, and 4 out of 15 against the Bulldogs on Thursday in Ruston. Not close to his normal numbers for the season. He shoots almost 50% from the field prior to these last couple of games.
And even though he hasn't shot it great, he's still the guy I want taking the shots down the stretch if I'm Phil Cunningham on Western Kentucky's bench.
You wonder if there might be a 5-second call for Western Kentucky on that pressure at some point. They're backing off for the most part once the ball gets in.
Yeah, pretty opportunistic. They're going to go trap maybe one pass. They don't get the turnover, they're going to get back and be solid half-court defensively.
Williams works his way inside again. An ultra-efficient 19 points for Williams on just 11 shots. And he is efficient, especially when he's at his best. I mentioned those back-to-back 31-point games at the end of December. Rawls attacks, can't get the layup, Williams the rebound. So that's in a 2-game stretch. Williams scored 62 points and he took only 23 shots from the field. A lot of free throws in there as well. The cut, pass deflected by Marshall. That's a big play. 2-on-1. Lob for Marshall, who finishes.
Great catch and finish by Marshall. Not the best pass by Rawls. Caught him under the rim just a little bit, but love to see him get out and run the floor and give this crowd something to cheer about here.
Yeah, you would have thought Marshall's going up thinking he's going to dunk it. That was a tough catch and finish for him. Very awkward with the rim in his way, and he cuts it back down to a 4-point deficit facing the Hilltoppers. But they really haven't been able to get a lot closer than this in the second half, Jay. They got it down to 3 at one point, but Charlotte has found one big bucket after another, most often from Bryce Williams in this second half.
Huge stop coming out of this timeout. And wouldn't be a surprise to see a little bit of a change in defense here just to kind of throw Charlotte off rhythm. They're probably over there discussing what to run against West Kentucky's man. So we'll see if we see that zone again. Last time they went to it one possession and Bryce Williams burned them with a deep 3 and they jumped right back out of it, you know. You have that tendency as a coach sometimes to not stick with that zone defense.
Big possession coming up for Charlotte out of the timeout, up 62-58 with 7 minutes, 12 seconds to go in our second half. Nate Gatter, Jay Walton, Lexi Schweinert back with you from Diddle Arena in Bowling Green tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Been a good game, Jay. We were a little bit nervous, I think, just from a neutral standpoint, when Charlotte went up 11 just before the half and then took an 8-point lead into the break, that the Niners might run away with this in the second half. But Western Kentucky in particular getting to the free throw line since halftime has helped keep it close.
A lot of pride here in Diddle Arena for this West Kentucky program. They're not going to go down without a fight. Big stop right here.
Williams on the pull-up, another big bucket. He has 21.
That's tough. Just a tough shot by Bryce Williams. He's done it all today. So efficient.
14 of his 21 points since halftime. McKnight had to terminate. Acott. See if Jerry's Hamilton wants to try to do something. There's been a lot of running through McKnight in this second half. Lost the dribble. Hamilton, deep 3. Way off. Not a good looking offensive possession for Western Kentucky. And that's going to take us into another timeout. 6:31 to go in this second half. Charlotte with a bucket and a stop. The Niners back up by 6 points, and they will have the basketball on the other side of the timeout at Diddle Arena. Charlotte with the lead and the basketball, up 64-58 with 6.5 to go at Diddle Arena. Let's check in again with Lexi.
Hey guys, some exciting news for Hilltopper fans. Next Saturday, WKU will be retiring the jersey of the late Dwight Smith. He was a 6'4" guard from Princeton, Kentucky, the top rebounding guard in the nation in both his sophomore and senior seasons, averaging 11 rebounds per game. He was the Los Angeles Lakers' 4th pick in the 3rd round of the 1967 draft, but tragically we never got to see him play. He died in a car accident later that May. He's only the 11th player in Hilltopper history to join this prestigious club. I'll send it back to you guys.
Yeah, certainly an exciting honor for the late Dwight Smith and his family, and for the Western Kentucky basketball family for that matter. There's some impressive jerseys hanging up in the rafters of this vaunted old building. 64-58 is the Charlotte lead with 6.5 to go. 49ers will have the basketball at their backcourt baseline, and that means they're going to have to get it in against this Western Kentucky pressure, which you'd have to imagine is just going to turn up and up and up over these final 6.5.
Well, Charlotte just not a team that turns the ball over very much at all. I mean, look at the stat sheet today. You got Lakai Patterson, Montre Gibson, between the two of them, 9 assists, 0 turnovers in about almost 60 combined minutes. It's really hard to speed this team up and make them play out of control.
Takes them a long time on some possessions to get into anything on the offensive end, but they do so well late in the clock. Williams has had a monster second half, left that one short. And a big possession now for the Tops, closing in on 6 minutes to go. McKnight draws 2, keeps the dribble alive. Marshall, Akot hesitated. Front rim, and Aldridge the rebound.
Yeah, should have shot it as soon as he caught it. Double clutched it a little bit and left it short.
You'd like to see as well Western Kentucky attack off the dribble a little bit more, especially with Charlotte sitting on 9 fouls, so Western will be in the double bonus the rest of the way. Folks attacks on Marshall. Williams cuts back door, reverse finish.
Just a heads up play by their leading scorer coming off the bench. Moves without the ball so well. He catches and shoots off the screens well. He can pull up off the dribble and go inside. Just does a little bit of everything for Charlotte.
It was all Khalifa in the first half. He had 18 of his 22. As you see McKnight going downhill and drawing the foul on Aldridge. But Williams has scored 16 of his now game-high 23 in the second half.
And if you're Western Kentucky, this is where you got to live the rest of the game. You got to be aggressive. You're in the double bonus. Charlotte has a hard time staying in front, especially in transition, as you saw right there from McKnight. Just got to get your head going downhill. Make something happen in the paint.
McKnight has been excellent at the free throw line, as has the entire team for Western Kentucky. He gets both. He's made all 7 at the line so far tonight. The Tops have hit 14 out of 16, 87.5%. Pressure onto the backcourt again. Threadgill trapped. Didn't leave his feet according to the officials. Diddle Arena crowd didn't like it. Khalifa lobs for Williams, who couldn't step it with a left hand. Charlotte bench can't believe there was no whistle. Tops go 5 on 4. Hamilton for 3. Off the mark, and it's rebounded by Folks.
Missed opportunity right there in transition from Western. Could have been a huge swing. Almost a monster finish by Bryce Williams. Turned into a transition opportunity, not able to capitalize.
Inside 5 minutes to go. Charlotte happy to slow it down. Patterson knocked away and stolen by McKnight. McKnight spins into the lane. Might have taken an extra step. Doesn't matter. Khalifa the rebound.
Love the aggressiveness. Just I'd like there to be a little bit more control right there if you're Davion McKnight.
Ron Sanchez a little bit agitated, trying to get Patterson's attention and make sure they're all on the same page, calling out the set. Single digits again on the shot clock. Folks with 4. Folks with 2, all the way in for the layup. Exactly how Charlotte drew it up. 8-point lead inside 4 minutes to play.
I want to say that's Folks' first basket today. Really, really athletic player, very good slasher, his first bucket tonight.
McKnight trapped in the corner. There's Rawls, still Western Kentucky's leading scorer tonight. All the way to the rim on Folks, and a foul. And Folks ended up on the floor. Rawls looks a little bit frustrated. Maybe there was a coming together there. But Kevin Mathis, the official, right on top of it, saw nothing untoward. And that sends us into our final media timeout of the evening. 3.5 minutes to play. Charlotte leads by 8. Rawls at the line when we get back. Charlotte up 68-60 with 3.5 to go in the second half from Dental Arena in Bowling Green. Nate Gatter, Jay Walton, Lexi Schweiner with you on a Saturday night where Western Kentucky has just not been able to find that big shot in the second half. And in the end, with 3.5 minutes to go, despite all the work the Hilltoppers have done, Charlotte has restored its advantage to 8 points, same as it was at halftime. And Jay, here's another look at that backdoor feed to Bryce Williams, the beautiful reverse layup.
Well, Charlotte has continued to get the shots that they want in their half-court set, whether it's a down screen for a jump shot or a backdoor layup, as you see right there. Some pinpoint passing. A lot of these field goals coming in the last 5 or 6 seconds of the shot clock, which can really, really demoralize you as a defensive team. And that's what we've seen throughout the most of this afternoon for Charlotte. Now, they've been here before. They've been able to play very, very well and not close out a few close games. Looking for their first win on the road, and they're going to have to withstand a rally here from West Kentucky down the stretch. You want to continue to get great shots every time down the floor, not turn the ball over as they have all day long.
Jordan Rawls at the free throw line for the Hilltoppers. He's made all 4 now, counting that one. Couldn't get it. First miss for the Hilltoppers in quite a while at the line. They were 15 of 17. Folks has to get it over. Gibson just gets there before the 10 seconds. Williams on the baseline, gets it over Hamilton. 25 for Bryce Williams.
Yeah, again, no Jamarian Sharp on the floor. That's not a play right there that Charlotte would have been able to make with a 7'5" shot blocker looming large in the paint.
Really
His
long
presence being sorely missed today.
A really long 3 from Dante Allen. Western Kentucky down to its last couple of chances here. And a couple more buckets for Charlotte might be enough to see this one out, especially with the Niners using 20, 25, 30 seconds on every possession. Backdoor cut by Folks, who's fouled from behind by Allen, going for the dunk. That's 4 on Dante Allen, and Folks will shoot free throws, the first of the second half for Charlotte.
How many 6'11" guys can make that bounce pass off the dribble through traffic right there? Just a very impressive skill set being shown off here by Ali Khalifa. Folks with the heads up cut and almost a nasty, nasty finish.
Couple of misses from Folks, and it's last off of Khalifa. Folks, not a good free throw shooter for whatever reason. Shoots high percentage from the field, getting inside, and not even unwilling to shoot a 3, but just does not shoot well at the free throw line. 7 of 23 now in the year.
Yeah, skilled as he is, you would think that that would be something that he would be much better at for sure.
Rawls steps in to make it a 2 and hits. He wanted a foul, didn't get it. And Phil Cunningham uses a timeout with 2:21 to go. And Western Kentucky down by 7. That's 19 now for Jordan Rawls, who has played a big role for Western Kentucky off the bench tonight.
It's a really, really tough mid-range jump shots off the dribble. Phil Cunningham with a timeout, going to set up the full court press. Again, Charlotte, just a tough team to speed up, just a hard team to turn over. But you got to right now in your Western Kentucky kind of get a deflection, get a steal, force a 10-second call, something. Get yourself an opportunity right here at another possession.
It's interesting because we've talked about how this Hilltoppers press has caused problems for the Niners, and it certainly has. But I'm not sure it's forced a single turnover yet. 2 or 3 near misses.
I think the first couple times they did, I think it was just so unexpected because they don't do this a lot. It's not their deal. And Charlotte maybe a little rushed. You know, no Lukai Patterson on the floor. Maybe a little bit concerning for Charlotte right now when you're steadiest ball handlers and your floor general.
Western Kentucky has 5 team fouls, so still 1 more to give. But you would think then the Tops would want to put Folks on the line for 2 or 3 1-and-1s if they could. 7 of 23 on the season and 0 for 2 at the line tonight.
Yeah, I'd probably foul him right now anytime he touched it.
Going to play straight up defense at least for 1 more possession. Here's Folks with 7. And Marshall gets there for the steal. So Western forces the turnover, albeit in the half court. Rawls slipped as he threw the pass. Saved by Hamilton. Rolls off the ball fake. Acott for 3. Khalifa the rebound. Felt like Western needed that one, and McKnight fouls Khalifa. That's the last foul Western had to give. So Charlotte into the bonus for the final 99 seconds.
Another missed opportunity in transition. Hamilton had the step on the Charlotte defense and just not able to deliver the bounce pass through traffic by Rawls. That cuts it to 5, just under 2 minutes. Instead, Charlotte ball with a 7-point lead, able to set up their press attack.
Hilltoppers just 2 of 11 from 3 in the second half. Folks comes off the floor now with Charlotte into the bonus. Khalifa tied up and he stepped on the sideline. Back-to-back Charlotte turnovers. Only 6 turnovers the entire game for the Niners until these last 2 possessions, and they've turned it over twice in 30 seconds.
Cardinal sin on the press attack. Stay off the sideline as you cross half court. I coach a 7th and 8th grade team. I tell my boys that all the time. Boys, if you're watching, that's why we don't bring the ball up the court and cross the sideline or cross half court on the sideline.
Hamilton. Rawls wants a 3. Big shot for the Tops. They've needed that one. Jordan Rawls has 22, and he is feeling it.
He's keeping him in it. He's hit big shot after big shot today. The 3-point shot, not normally his deal, but he's a gamer, and he's giving his team a fighting chance here down the stretch.
Jordan Rawls has made it a 4-point game. Shows you how fortunate the Niners were that Western Kentucky could not complete that pass to Hamilton on the back cut on the last possession, and that Acott missed the open 3. Western could otherwise have it down to 1 possession. The Tops have not gotten closer than 3 points in the second half, and Phil Cunningham uses his penultimate timeout to try to set up this press, which has at least indirectly forced back-to-back Charlotte turnovers, which is how the Niners have a 2-minute scoring drought despite the fact that they've made 6 of their last 8 from the field. They've shot 56% in this game, and they're still in a dogfight to the end, which tells you about the advantage Western Kentucky has at the free throw line and the advantage in points off turnovers. But the Tops are going to need it, you would think, at least 1 more turnover. The benefit for them is they're sitting on 6 fouls, so that means the next 3 fouls, Charlotte will be shooting a 1-and-1, and as we know in the college game, big difference between the 1-and-1 and the double bonus. So any front-end misses would also be a big deal for Western Kentucky's comeback bid over these final 71 seconds.
Yeah, I think you got time to set your full court press here. You don't get a steal. You maybe got 1 more possession to D up in the half court without giving a foul. Got to have a stop, though, in an attack in transition. After that, you got to look to start the foul.
A lot of good free throw shooters out there as well for Charlotte. Threadgill really the only one who hasn't shot great so far this season. Patterson bumped by Acott, and he'll go to the line. He's a 78% shooter. But without Folks, there's not an obvious target. Threadgill is 7 out of 12. He just hasn't been there that often, but obviously a good shooter overall. Khalifa 74%, Patterson 78, Williams 81, and Gibson 88.
Patterson not the most offensive-minded point guard. Hasn't even scored this afternoon, but a couple of huge free throws to make this a 2-possession game with a minute to play.
And the Western Kentucky public address announcer is getting a warning for having started to announce Patterson shooting the free throws exactly as he was going into his motion. The Charlotte bench was not happy about that. So Patterson hits his first free throw. That's the first point he has all night. Misses the second. Door still a little bit open for the Hilltoppers. A minute to go, down by 5. Hamilton. McKnight has a mismatch on Khalifa but doesn't want it. Rawls working on Gibson, gets a step, tough shot in traffic, he got it, plus the foul. Jordan Rawls has taken over for the Hilltoppers tonight. .24 points for Rawls on 9 of 13 shooting. This might be his most difficult bucket of the whole game.
Barely gets that ball over the front of the rim. Again, going to set the full court press. Inside a minute now after a couple of passes. If you don't get a turnover, maybe start thinking about a foul.
25 points for Rawls, way past his previous season high of 16 against UAB a week and a half ago. 2-point game with 50 seconds to go. Threadgill, pressure from behind by McKnight, who fouls him. Threadgill took a tumble, and he'll go to the free throw line. That is the 8th team foul against Western Kentucky, so still 1-1, and it will be for one more. 45 seconds left exactly, and Threadgill needs 2 to make this a 2-possession game again. That's the 3rd foul on Davion McKnight. Not especially consequential for the moment. Could be if this game were to reach overtime. This is what you talked about at the half, though, Jay. Western Kentucky trying to turn the pressure over to Charlotte with how the Niners have struggled to close out games this year, in particular on the road.
Yeah, as well as they've played, you know they're starting to think about that. You know, we've been here before. We haven't been able to finish, and they may start getting a little tight.
1-1 for Jackson Threadgill, the junior from Concord, North Carolina. Just his 13th free throw of the year. And it's good. More than a few people left their seats when Western Kentucky fell behind by 9 in the late stages, but still plenty of noise at Diddle Arena with a second free throw coming for Threadgill.
Plenty of time if you're Western. You don't have to force, you don't have to take a quick 3, get to the basket, score in transition if possible, set your press.
Davion McKnight blows right past Patterson all the way to the rim for 2. It didn't even take 6 seconds, and it's a 2-point game again.
That's just too easy. You cannot give Davion McKnight a straight line drive to the basket in transition right there. You at least have to make him turn his dribble, make 2 or 3 passes, take a little bit more time off the clock.
Threadgill calls timeout. Charlotte has 1 remaining, as does Western Kentucky. And the Niners will have to try to get it in again, up by 2. And again, the next Western Kentucky foul will still be 1-1 for Charlotte, although it'll be the last one before the Niners reach the double bonus. To your point, though, Jay, I mean, even though Western Kentucky ultimately is probably going to need a 3 or a turnover or something more than trading buckets, you're still giving yourself a chance, and a good chance, to keep fouling if you can get a layup every 6 seconds. I mean,
well, you just saw the way Charlotte was set up. I don't know if they were expecting Western to run a play to get a 3, but, you know, take advantage, take what the defense gives you. You're still in position where you take what they give you. Score as quick as possible, take the best shot that you can get early in the possession. Not at the point yet where you got to force a 3.
Considering how good Charlotte is at the free throw line, you wonder if Western Kentucky would use a little bit of this time remaining. 39 seconds to go, so that the Hilltoppers could afford to play this for 5, 6, 7 seconds if they thought they could get a good backcourt trap.
Khalifa right now. I just throw the ball right off of Tyrone Marshall's back. He's got his back turned to him. Easy way to get the ball in bounds.
Williams in trouble. Hamilton goes up, intercepts the pass, and they don't call a foul on Threadgill. Oh my goodness. That's out of bounds off Hamilton, who clattered into the scorer's table. Threadgill had lost the position. Hamilton caught the ball going out of bounds. And Jay, for me, I think that was a foul, but Threadgill is very fortunate that call didn't go against him.
Yeah. A lot of people in here are very surprised that's not called. And Hamilton went down hard. He moved our scorer's table right here about 4 or 5 inches when he ran into it. Almost a huge steal for Hamilton.
Western Kentucky coaches are asking for an intentional foul, and the referees are going to go over and take a look. I don't think there was anything intentional about that, but from our angles, and we had a great look at it live, it looked like Threadgill definitely grabbed a hold of Hamilton's left arm and yanked him down.
I always wonder this situation where the official goes to the monitor right there. There's nothing he saw that he can overturn, but he probably saw, you know what, I probably missed that one. And do you get a makeup call right here from these officials, knowing that they probably missed a crucial foul call right there on Threadgill? And that gives West Kentucky a chance to tie with 33 seconds left. Now, you're Charlotte. First thing you got to do is get the ball in bounds.
Khalifa gets it into Williams. Western trying to bring a trap. Williams terminates the dribble, steps through, gets rid of it to Gibson. Now Patterson. Tops are going to play it out. No foul. About an 8-second difference between the game and shot clocks. Williams with 3 on Hamilton to the rim, and he's fouled. Hamilton put a little extra on that foul of Bryce Williams, too. He was not happy after getting put on the floor by Threadgill the way he did. And now 2 massive free throws coming for Bryce Williams. If he hits both, this game is, you would have to think, all but over.
Bryce Williams, a tough guy to keep in front. Big, strong guy, gets his head and shoulders by you. Tough to keep in front of you.
Cooley knocks down the first. 88, making an 81% free throw shooter for the season, having a monster game. 26 points, 19 of them since halftime. The biggest free throw of the night. He gets them both. Charlotte has delivered at the free throw line down the stretch. Western Kentucky has to hurry. McKnight works on Folks, bumps him to the rim, doesn't get the call. It's out of bounds off Charlotte. 5.7 to go, and Phil Cunningham is hot. He was on Chris Merlo about the no call on the Hamilton interception when he went to the ground, and now he's on him about the no call for Davion McKnight. Tops need something fast. Allen, good look at a 3. Couldn't get it, that'll be all. Charlotte wins on the road for the first time in Conference USA play. The 49ers hold on and take it 75-71 over Western Kentucky in Bowling Green.
Well, tough loss here for West Kentucky. You know, Rick Stansberry's missed 8 games. You got no Jamarian Sharp today. Luke Frampton goes down early in the game, and you know it's nobody feels sorry for you in this league. And Charlotte able to come in here today and still won on the road, get their first Conference USA road win of the year.
It's a great game, and Charlotte did well, as you said, Jay. The pressure mounted on the Niners in the second half with Western Kentucky closing the gap. But they really never relinquished the lead. Western Kentucky got it down to 2, but Charlotte led all the way the entire second half, and they deserve a lot of credit because even if Western was down Jamarian Sharp and in the end down Luke Frampton, they gave a lot of body shots still in the second half, and the Niners still standing at the end.
They bit, but they didn't break, and credit Western Kentucky with a great run there at the end to make it close. Give this crowd something to stay involved in and stay here and cheer for, but just not able to get over the hump today.
No surprise, Bryce Williams is the man tonight. He had 20 of his 27 in the second half. Third time this year he scored 27 or more in Conference USA play. Lexi, what's he got to say?
Yeah, Bryce, you had 27 points tonight, 7 rebounds. How did you contribute to the 75-71 victory?
I was just playing hard for my team, doing whatever they needed me to do. They were looking at me. I had it going a little bit, and they just kept coming to me, setting me good screens. And I just kept trying to attack the glass, giving us more possessions.
And you guys have had a little bit of trouble finding the victory in highly contested games. This was a close one. You know, you've lost by 4 points, 2 points in the last 2 games. But how did you find that victory and get a notch in the win column?
This was a big one for us, not because of the team we're playing, but just for the mentality of the team. Pulling out close games in the end, it just takes mental toughness, and we all banded together. We didn't stray away and do our own thing. We just kind of looked at each other, and that's how we got this win.
Prior to this, you were 2-5 in road games, no conference wins on the road. Now you finally got a conference win on the road. How is this going to help your confidence going into a conference game at Rice on Thursday?
It just gives us a good outlook on everything. They say we can't win on the road, but when we come together and play for each other, I mean, good things are going to happen, and that's what we're going to continue to do.
Awesome, great game tonight.
Thank you.
All right, I'll send it back to you guys.
Congratulations to Bryce Williams and the Charlotte 49ers, 27 points for him. And as well, to your point, Jay, as well, we talked about this. They got a lot of guys who do the dirty work as well, things that don't show up in the stat sheet. Jackson Threadgill and Lakai Patterson, not a lot scoring. Threadgill had 10, Patterson had 1. Those two were the top 2 49ers in plus-minus tonight. I think that speaks volumes as well about how many different guys they have who play their roles and do a lot of things well.
They're so under control, very patient offensively, very unselfish, and just, like I said, the biggest thing down the stretch is they bent, but they didn't break. They withstood the rally and showed a lot of poise and maturity on the road here in Bowling Green to get a win.
Charlotte wins at 75-71 at Diddle Arena tonight. For Lexi Schweiner, Jay Walton, our entire crew, Nate Gatter saying so long from Bowling Green. The Niners snapped their losing streak, improved to 4-5 in Conference USA. Western Kentucky has dropped 3 in a row and falls to 3-6. Once again, our final, Charlotte 75 and Western Kentucky 71. A thriller in Bowling Green, but the Niners hold on for a big road win.